Blas, thank you for joining me today. I want to get a little bit of background. Can you tell me a little bit about what your company does?
So, Blas Giffuni, even though it's my name, we're a group of people that we help mid-sized companies and startups to get in line with everything that is digital marketing. We started with offering just SEO, but with the additional conversations, we moved from SEO to web development, web design, then automation, and then other different things that we could do for go-to-market strategies.
Thank you. So let's start from the beginning. What were you doing to improve your team's performance, both from a sales perspective and account management, before we started working together?
So that's a lot of things happen. So the first one is first we needed to figure out what were our clients really asking, and that was very basically a lot of conversations coming up because we were one thing is what we hear, the other one is what we express, and the other one is what I learned from what you expressed. So it was difficult to understand what was the main concern that a customer or a client could have, and what was the reality of what they were trying to accomplish. So to give you an idea, in my world, everybody's looking for, I want to get more traffic to my website. In reality, what they're looking at is, I want more conversions to my website where traffic happens to be one part of the equation. So that kind of intersect of what the customer is looking for and what we're able to provide, that basically that communication gap was the closest thing that I was trying to fix. How I was trying to do it, basically just one-on-one conversations, going over every single interaction and try to figure out what was going on.
So you were forced to sit in on a lot of calls or record the calls and then listen to them afterwards to figure out what the clients were really needed.
Absolutely. So part of part of being the name of the brand is that a lot of times I had to be in the calls, but in the call you're either having a conversation or you're taking notes or you're trying to figure out what's going to be my next step strategically for this call or for the account, and there's a lot of moving parts that are happening in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I basically I had to, one, take notes during the conversation, be just going over those notes and figure it out. What was I trying to say? What were they telling me? And what did I understood about that part? And number three, that was comparing notes with whomever was with me, with someone from the technical side or someone from marketing, someone my account manager. But it was difficult to try to get a consensus into something because we didn't have the perfect recollection of what happened.
So what was the main reason you had continued to do what you were doing before you found Traq?
I didn't have any other alternative that I could possibly pay for it. So to give you an idea, in the past, I worked with a different company, but just the cost per a single user was extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to find a solution that was a real solution. Not only, yes, I know that I could be using different technologies to record a call, but it is the same thing as I have to wait and go back and listening to them and trying to figure out, find the time to go in and actually look at the calls and try to analyze them again. So I didn't do much other
Okay.
than let's wait until we get our little gift.
I got it. Okay, thank you. And how did you first hear about Traq?
As part of having to know multiple technologies for go-to-market strategies, I knew about some of the about other competitors or other platforms, and little by little, just by doing research, talking to people, uh, actually get to follow you on LinkedIn and get to learn more about what you do for Traq. And I would like to say that I was kind of one of the early adapters for Traq,
Mm-hmm.
but basically understanding all the process that you mentioned, all the difficulties that you showed on multiple times, that really resonated with me.
That's helpful. That's helpful to me to understand, and I appreciate you being an early adopter. So what were your concerns or reservations initially when you started using Track?
Well, the first one, and it's not about using Track, it's about AI in general.
Hmm.
As on SEO, we've been using AI for quite a bit of time now. The
Hmm.
only thing is something that I know is that AI it's not great if it doesn't have any type of context.
Hmm.
So if AI doesn't have enough context, good enough context, then whatever gets generated, it's not going to be that useful. So my concern wasn't too much about Track, it was about the use of AI in
Okay.
order to generate some good analysis.
So what was the main reason that you decided to go with Track?
Well, the first one, again, even though that this is making it a kind of a simple decision, it was A, I like what you said. Two, it was affordable for me at the moment, and it still is. And three, I like the way the platform has developed.
Hmm.
And I will add a number four, which usually try to go by threes, is that you actually listen to feedback and get things done. So to me, that was critical because yeah, I could try to go to other platforms that are huge. They have multiple millions of clients or users, not clients, but try to get a feature developed. That would
Hmm.
never happen.
Right.
So having kind of been that early adapter kind of mentality kind of helped out quite a bit.
Right. Well, we appreciate that. And, we listen to our clients ourselves because we find that the best ideas come from people like you who are using it out in the world. You have specific needs, and you sharing with us what you need allows us to build a better technology. So thank you, Blas, for your ongoing guidance. Um, and can you describe what it's been like working with us, other than we listen well? Anything else that is that you can share?
One of the things that I really, really liked, and again, I will say that I'm not a salesperson. I like to educate, and so it happens that I end up closing sales because I educate people, but I have no idea about sales. The fact that I have in Track, basically Track trains me on how to become a better salesperson. That to me was super important. And funny enough, multiple times, even though I was doing I use Track for everything. So sometimes if I'm doing kind of a call update or things like that, I will still look at the analysis, not at the analysis, but basically the guidance that Track gives me. Because at the end, the way I say it is, there is a lot of a structure in a sales call. Even though we say try to make another structure and things like that, there is a lot, try to have a consistent approach.
Hmm.
And that has helped me to improve not only my quote unquote sales calls, but also my ongoing and basically just client management calls.
Okay, so you're also using Track for sales, but also for account management. So you're using it to help, uh, I guess, retain clients, right? To make sure they're
Yep.
happy and pleased with the performance.
Yes. And this sounds so like a small feature, but it's so easy to go back and like, what was the client really wanted to do? Because
Hmm.
once again, what do we want to do versus what do we need to do?
Right.
So the fact that we can go back to we don't even need to go back to the recording, but we can just search by the word and it will take us to the exact minute where the client actually mentioned
Right.
something.
Okay. And where do you think you've gained the most value from using Track?
The most value of using Track at this moment is knowing we were able to move from just being an SEO consultancy
Hmm.
to a bigger provider of digital services. So understanding that our what was our real value. Our real value is not to develop websites. There are a ton of people that develop websites. Is to be able to connect the development of websites with business objectives and basically sprinkling that all the SEO component. But in reality, that's something that Track made us really easy to understand.
Okay, so you were able to identify more opportunities among your clients, ways to expand your offering so that you weren't just doing a very narrow segment of business, but for a lot, you know, from SEO to, I guess, web design and messaging and advertising, and I'm sure there's a lot more that you do, but that's something
Absolutely.
that you learned from listening to clients carefully?
Yes. The like you can always have kind of the voice behind your head, like, hey, probably you should try to do this. Do you have any data to support this? Like it stopped being like it's a good idea versus yes, my clients are asking for this. There's additional value that you're providing for free.
Right.
Probably there are ways that you can increase without having to create this monumental effort. Is just get to know what you're doing, how you're helping your customers.
And how soon after starting to use Track did you start to see improvements in your business?
Almost immediately, for one reason, not too much because of again, we use Track for everything, so it's not that I started to see turn on Track today and I started to see more sales immediately.
Hmm.
It's that we turned Track and we started to reduce the amount of time that we spend just trying to figure out what to do.
Okay.
So to me, that was a big win.
Right. Right. So
Uh,
just efficiency alone
Efficiency was
was a tremendous
huge.
benefit. Okay. And in what ways has your process changed since you started using Track?
So there are two things. One, from the sales perspective, the fact that I'm able to connect it with HubSpot. I use HubSpot as a CRM,
Hmm.
and being able to keep all the notes organized in HubSpot by company and by contact.
Hmm.
And basically that allows us to have a better idea of who we're talking, what are their concerns, the quote unquote persona, is that we really understand what the non-business conversation is. So there is a lot of value in that because people do business with people. So the more we get to know, the more we are able to interact, the better conversations we're going to have. So that was one part which was pretty. It helped in keeping the conversation moving on a more positive way. The other part is again efficiencies as far as the ongoing maintenance and making sure that instead of having a list of 10 items that we needed to develop to deliver and only providing 7 or 8 because we didn't capture it, now we're providing 10 out of 10.
You've mentioned a little bit of sales and account management. What other situations or use cases do you think would benefit from Track?
Here I'm gonna be giving a little bit of a secret sauce, but something that we do because again, artificial intelligence exists. It's very powerful. Generative AI exists. However, you still need a subject matter expert to create and craft quality content.
Hmm.
So many times what we do is we interview subject matter experts about a topic as a way to enrich our content strategy.
Mm.
Then what I
Okay.
use Track for is now I use the analysis of Track the Track provides to figure out what are the most important things that were covered during the interview, uh, different if there are key statistics or things like that, it easily comes to us. So that's an unexpected way how we're using Track that it's not even sales or customer
Okay. So I'm going to say
planning.
no competitors should listen to that section we just discussed.
Well, yes, but again, everybody has a tool. Like you could have a brush and a and a piece of paper or whatever, but you're not gonna be able to draw the Mona Lisa unless you know what you're doing.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, they
And
can record it fine.
okay. And you know what you're doing. That's fantastic. I appreciate, well, I know that you're an expert in what you do. So this is, I get it. And well, I'm just hoping nobody listens too carefully to that secret sauce that you just shared and starts stealing your thunder. Um,
Well, SEO is that like for the nth time they're saying that, so don't worry.
right. Okay. And why should someone watching this take action now instead of waiting?
Because there are opportunities out there. The way I say it is everybody talks about, oh, how great we grew in sales, or we're this close to get to quota, we're able to exceed quota. But how many times do we think and we learn from what we lost?
Hmm.
To me, even losing a deal means a way to learn. There was something that I missed. Were we too quick, or we thought that the prospect knew what we're talking about? Maybe. Did they was for one of those learnings is that many times, even though price came to the equation, very few times we've lost deals because of pricing.
It's interesting. And I think it's really interesting that you recognize that the deals lost can be sometimes more valuable. Well, not more valuable in terms of money, but from a learning experience, you learn a lot more from those that you lose than from those that you win.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How is Track different from typical call recording software?
Okay, on a previous role, I was one of those who actually had to listen to calls and train the sales team on what they should and should not say about technology, about SEO, about content, about different languages and things like that. It so happens that for me to give feedback, to give good feedback, I had to listen the call again, run an analysis, write, basically reach out to the salesperson, and then write something for the whole rest of the team so they will be able to learn.
Hmm.
And let's hope that they will actually read it. In this case, I'm able to actually use Track a lot faster to analyze multiple calls and be able to distinguish what are the key points that we need to train the team.
How has Track affected your workload and that of your team?
Once again, efficiencies, and again, being the name of the brand requires me to be in many calls.
Right?
So, but once I started using Track and giving access my team the given access to the recordings to my team, I've been able to reduce the amount of time that I need to be on following calls by a third.
I mean, I would think that the ultimate goal is you really need to, well, you can't clone yourself. That would be great, but you need as many of your team members to become as expert as you so that eventually everyone won't be demanding you to be on the calls.
Exactly. And one of the things is like I I make a lot of effort to make sure that my team knows as much or even more than I do.
Hmm.
But there is also the reaction and how you can handle questions. How do you approach a topic? And all of the basically having these recordings helped me to train the team on how to. It's as simple if the basic the example that I always use is everybody talks about SEO, but no one knows what SEO is.
Right.
So if I need to explain what SEO is, but my explanation of SEO is different than from anyone from my team, then we're creating a lot more confusion in something that is
Right.
already confusing for many people.
And if someone is watching this and wants to learn more about you and your organization, where can they find you?
The easiest way will be to go to blasgiffuni.com. That's my name, again, my name and the brand, or they just can reach me out on LinkedIn.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time, and I want to thank you for your use and support of Track and your guidance and recommendations because they're tremendous. It allows us to build a better platform day in and day out. Blas, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Adam, and anytime.